the thing that really influenced me to like join or like at least be in like the application process was my mom's a Spanish teacher, and she's like big on culture, and so I've always wanted to like go and experience culture for myself because she has stories about culture, and I was like, I kind of want to have my own stories too. And that was one part, and then I also have like different parts. Spiritually, I felt drawn to it, and because I read about it in the Bible like constantly, I would read these things, and I had my own not imagination, but like image of things, and I was always just curious about what it really looked like. So those are my two big influencers. The application process was it was needed for sure, because we got to learn so much more about like what we were going to see, and we learned information and dates and more of the culture than I would have known if I had just hopped on a plane and gone. I did definitely have expectations for the trip before I went, like what I thought it would look like. I thought Israel was going to be a complete desert, like there's no cities, like nothing. And when I started the exchange program, they were like, it's not just desert. There's forests and like seasides and stuff like that. So it's definitely more than I expected it would be. One of the first things that we were taught about the violence and all of the chaos news that we would hear just through the news streams was that most of it was like in the past time, and most of it wasn't even close to Israel. Especially like in the Middle East, it was just chaos, but I knew that I was going to be safe in Israel. We learned so much about like the shelters that they have, like every 200 to 500 yards, and precautions that they take, and the Iron Dome, and all these different things that would keep me safe. And so I definitely felt more safe when I was in Israel than I would in America, which sounds awful, but it's definitely weird to think about. Like I never once felt like I was in danger. Financially, I worked all summer. It was like May to August. I worked, I was a lifeguard, and I'd work 40 hours a week because that's the maximum. And then I also did fundraisers. I would bake different goodies like lemon squares, cookies, or whatever, and I would just make different things and sell them, and in the end I was able to get in enough money to go. So many things impressed me about Israel, just like how the artifacts of culture back in like Bible time and just through the years have been kept safe and preserved. And then just the people are so kind. Like it was so weird. They're literally the kindest people. Even when you don't speak the same language they do, and if you kind of are like, what did they just say? They're very like, okay, let me say that again. Or like when you ask them a question, and they don't understand, they're like, say that one more time. Like, I'm so sorry. I definitely would recommend this trip to others. It's definitely an eye-opening experience, and you are put out of your comfort zone the whole time when you're there, which sounds, people might be like, oh, I don't want to go and be out of my comfort zone, but really it's a good way to be pushed out of your comfort zone, to be able to talk to people that you don't know that much, to try new foods that maybe you don't eat a lot here. So the tree planting, it was like, I think it was our second or third day that we were in Israel. We got to go to this big reserve, and it was so beautiful. And they were like, okay, you can pick from different kinds of trees. And some of us named our trees. Mine was Shirley. I thought it was pretty funny, but I liked my tree Shirley. And so we just got to plant them, and it was definitely like kind of nice to give back in a way. Like, we were taking so much information from Israel, and it's just nice to put something back into Israel that we know that people are going to go see. The financial support that Oki gave us, especially me, I definitely would not have been able to go. I know a couple of others, most of students would not be able to go without the money that Oki supported us with, which I'm so thankful for, because I definitely experienced so much more than I would have if I hadn't gone. Yes, I did miss a little bit of Christmas, but I mean, I was in Israel, so it's not that big of a deal. And I'm so glad that Oki was able to give me that opportunity to experience things that I just never would have seen.